Productivity gurus want you to believe that you need a whole Notion workspace that looks like NASA's Mission Control Center just to remember to brush your fucking teeth. Meanwhile, I've helped CEOs like my client Kev, who's managed over $100 million in assets, making millions, build his first ever system in under 10 minutes using nothing but Google Docs and a calendar. If you've got ADHD-like symptoms and you're tired of overcomplicated productivity porn, stick around. I'm about to show you how to build systems that actually work for your scattered brain like ours. What's up? I'm Nick Ganning. I help entrepreneurs stop self-sabotaging and getting in their own way. Was a former growth partner at a seven-figure company helping to build the sales systems. I've logged over 2,000 one-on-one coaching hours over the last 4.5 years, helping entrepreneurs reach their potential. And today we're going to talk about something that most high performers completely resist, which is building systems. Now, here's the thing. If you're a high-achieving entrepreneur, you probably think that you don't need systems because you've gotten this far by just brute forcing absolutely everything. And you pride yourself on being able to work under pressure, figure out things on the fly, and hustle your way through problems. But here's what's really happening. You're using your willpower and mental energy as the system. And that works until it doesn't, until you want to scale, until you get sick, until you want to take a vacation without everything actually falling apart. So in this video, I'm going to show you my 5-step method for building systems that actually work for ADHD brains, systems that make boring tasks feel exciting, that give you energy instead of draining it, and that you'll actually want to follow. Because here's the truth. Systems aren't just about getting organized. They're about creating the infrastructure that allows you to scale without losing your mind and without feeling like you're losing your creative freedom. So let me paint a picture of what life looks like without systems. So what's really interesting is that researchers at Stanford University ran a study with about 165 people, and they split them into two groups for a simple memory task. One group had to remember a 2-digit number. The other had to remember a 7-digit number. That's it. And just to keep in mind, all they had to do was do this while walking down a hill. But here's the kicker. When they reached the end, they were offered either a slice of chocolate cake or a bowl of fruit. And in the 2-digit group, only about 41% picked the cake. And in the 7-digit group, a whopping 63% went for it, almost twice as many. Why? Because even with that small extra mental load, that was enough to drain their willpower and push them towards an easier, more impulsive, less healthy choice. And if 7 random digits can do that, imagine what running your whole business out of your head and your entire life is like, and how much that impacts your decision making every single day. Like, you're probably like this. You wake up in the morning and immediately your brain has 47 different priorities all screaming for attention. You check your phone and there's a client email that needs a response. You have a team member asking for a direction. You have 3 different fires that apparently only you can put out. And you tell yourself, I work better under pressure anyway. And maybe that's true. Maybe you've built a successful business by being the person who can handle chaos, who thrives in the unknown, who can pivot and adapt faster than anyone else. But here's what happens when everything lives in your head. The moment you get sick, everything stops. The moment a fire becomes big enough, you are drawn from all of your action taking in one area and pulled out of CEO mode and pulled back into the business. And the moment you want to take your time off, your business can't function. You become the bottleneck in your own company. And when you try to scale, when you try to hire people and delegate, it's a fucking nightmare because you can't delegate something that doesn't exist outside of your brain. You end up trying to explain processes that are never written down. You expect people to read your mind. You expect people to show up like you do. And then you get super frustrated when they don't execute things exactly the way you would, even though you told them in one WhatsApp message or one Slack message or one quick meeting, and then expect them to just be able to follow the system without effective training and effective systemization of what you were training anyway. And the emotional cost of this is massive. You're anxious because everything feels urgent. You're experiencing decision fatigue because you're making the same decisions over and over again. Likely your routine's a complete mess. And you feel like you're always behind, always reactive, and always one crisis away from everything falling apart. But here's the kicker. You think this makes you indispensable. You think being the person who has to handle everything means you're valuable. But really, it just means you're trapped. You've created a business that can't function without you being constantly plugged in. Sound familiar? I get it. I was this person. So this is the high performer trap. And it's keeping you stuck at whatever level you're at right now. But let me explain this to you very, very clearly. So let me share with you something that I think is going to change how you approach growth and how you approach your scaling and how you approach your potential in a completely different way. Now, what I need you to realize is there is actually 2 types of growth in business. First, we have your quantum leap growths, quantum leaps. And this might be where you already are right now. So you started your business, you maybe had a good offer, you had good marketing, you had good sales, and you got traction, you start moving, you took a fuck ton of action. Now, if you're watching this video and you're not even at that, go and take a fuck ton of action. Get out of your, like, stop not taking action. Like, just go and take a fuckload of action. Like a Porsche, I learned this from a mentor a long time ago, but even a Porsche strategy works provided you take a lot of action. But this might be you right now. You're somewhere, you might have even done 5K a month, 10K a month, 20K a month. You might even done up to 50K a month. Or in my client's case, you might have even done $100 million fucking dollars in managed assets at this point. But here's what most entrepreneurs completely miss about where they're at after their quantum leap is what got you here will not get you there. And what's really interesting in Patrick Bet-David's Your Next 5 Move books, he talks about how there's 2 types of growth. So the second type of growth is linear growth. So imagine this, you've got your quantum leap up here, but what we also need is the linear step-by-step systems so that when the inevitable happens and you have some moment in your business where, you know, a team member drops off or a team member burnt out. We had this the other day. We had a client who's one of her key team members burnt out, which meant that because she hadn't built as many systems as she needed to, which was a tough lesson for her, but you know, she had my support. So we were able to actually go in and build these things together. She had to pause a load of operations, which could have taken her business from the 83K a month mark back down to the 50K a month mark when we started. But fortunately, we started building systems so that these types of things don't happen again. And this is the same for you. If you want to actually have more quantum leaps, so you want to have another big quantum leap like this over here, then we need the infrastructure that supports those quantum leaps. Well, here's why this matters, because from a neurobiological perspective, your brain needs predictable patterns to feel safe. When you have systems in place, your nervous system can actually relax because it knows what's coming next. And you know what the difference is between just quantum leaping growth and actually linear growth that supports more quantum leaps? Is the version of you that's over here who is just focused on quantum leaping is you're likely scattered, you're likely overwhelmed, you likely start to self-sabotage right when you should be scaling. Whereas you want to become the CEO who operates from clarity, not chaos. You want to have peace. You want to be the leader who makes decisions from a calm, regulated state. The entrepreneur who inspires others, who scales without sacrificing their mental health or relationship. But right now, your personal systems are absolutely burning this to the ground. They have to change. And can I be really real with you for a second? You've probably already had your first quantum leap moments, and that's got you to where you are now. But your personal systems are burning you to the fucking ground. You have, I'm gonna go on a quick rant because nobody else is gonna tell you this. You have nothing in place for when you get triggered. Someone sends you a challenging email, a client complains, your team screws something up, and you just go into a complete fucking reactive mode because you've never built a system for emotional regulation. You want to scale your team? What do? You tell people what you want and then just expect them to just magically do it perfectly. No training system, no feedback loops, no clear processes. And then when inevitably it messes up, who do you blame? You blame the fucking team. My team is incompetent. I can't find good people. The salespeople are shit. Nobody cares like I do. Bullshit. You just refuse to take ownership over the fact that you never built systems to set them up for success. You're operating like a one-man show trying to scale to $1 million business. That doesn't fucking work. You're burning through your own energy trying to be the system instead of building the systems. And then you wonder why you're exhausted, why you can't scale, and why everything feels like it's falling apart the moment you try to take a step back. The stepping stones are the systems. Each system that you build gives you back energy. It increases your mental bandwidth and capacity for the next quantum leap. But right now, you're stuck in this exhausting cycle of recreating everything from scratch every single fucking day. Stop blaming external factors and start building the infrastructure that actually supports growth. Because as you build more systems, you have more linear growth and you'll have more energy for more quantum leaps. That is the secret. All right. rant over. So how do we actually fix this? I want to actually give you my exact 5-step method for building systems that actually work for people higher up on the ADHD spectrum. And it's the same method I've used with one of the CEOs who's formerly managed over $100 million. And it takes about 5-10 minutes to set up. So you're good to actually tune into this video, actually go and take notes, and actually move forward with this. Otherwise, you're literally self-sabotaging. Cool. So step 1, we need to identify one repeatable task. Start stupid simple. Don't try to systemize your entire life at once. Pick one task that you do repeatedly. Maybe it's client onboarding, maybe it's content creation, maybe it's following up with leads. Just one. Your ADHD brain will want to systematize everything all at once, but that's how you get overwhelmed and quit. Step 2, then we're going to create a brain dead simple checklist. So you're going to write down every single micro step. I mean, every single step as if somebody else was going to do this for you, and make it so simple that your future overwhelmed, triggered, scattered self can follow through on it without thinking. For example, if it's a client onboarding, don't just write send welcome email. Write open Gmail, click compose, use welcome email template, personalize with client name, attach onboarding document, send, add follow-up reminder to calendar for 3 days. As much steps as we can. Brain dead simple. We can always come back to improving your systems and systematizing this even more, but at least let's start off as we mean to go on. Now, this is the kicker. This is where a lot of people don't do things differently, and why I'm really excited over the way that I create systems, because it makes it fun and it makes my brain want to do it. So this is the magic here. Instead of calling it client onboarding checklist, call it like client onboarding VIP experience or spicy onboarding checklist. Like, call it something fun, call it something exciting, because you're actually going to go and use it. Like, I want you to pick something that actually makes you giggle. Why does this work? Because ADHD brains are motivated by excitement and novelty. And even if you're not like classified and diagnosed as ADHD, if you're somewhere on the spectrum, I'm sure you would want to do something more exciting and more and have more curiosity around it. A boring checklist is going to feel like homework, whereas a VIP experience feels like you're doing something important and exciting. Okay, bueno? Okay. And even earlier, when we were creating a checklist with my clients, he called it Kev motherfucking legend MTG prep checklist. So he's like, motherfucking legend. You can just self-name yourself. Like, how about that? And then step 4 is you're going to put that checklist into Google Docs. So not Notion, not some fancy productivity app, just Google Docs. Make it super, super simple. It's simple, it's accessible, and it works. And then you're going to block time in your calendar for this system and make it recurring. So then not only do we have the system itself, but we also have when in your calendar, when in your schedule, that action item is happening. And then you can click your schedule and be like, oh, boo, I just go and follow this thing. So for example, let's say you called it your content domination protocol, and that happens every Tuesday. Then you block every Tuesday mornings and you call it content domination time. Now, here's the last little kicker that I find can be super helpful when you're approaching tasks that might feel boring, or you might worry about being productive, or you might just not feel focused. This is where it gets really powerful. At the top of every system document, you're going to put affirmations that actually prime your brain for execution. It might be, I am productive. I love this work. I'm inspired by myself. I'm focused. I'm locked in. And you're going to read this before you start the system. And it sounds simple, but it's programming your subconscious for success instead of resistance. Now, I've got a little bonus step. I know I told you I'd give you 5, but I wanted to give you some secret sauce and show you the 6th type. So just today, I was working with a business owner who's been in business for over 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in business for over a decade, and that could have saved me a lot of time in the last 10 years. So I will do that with everything. I'll wait till fucking Haven sees that. I'm gonna send him some fuck, because I send Haven, damn, got calendar invites too, and now he's gonna get some templates. Ooh.
That's dope, because all right, cool. So there's your little proof. But when we created his checklist today, and this is like his first checklist, right? Like business, 10 years, like been operating. We separated his systems here into offer, lead gen, lead management, sales, delivery, back end. And if we look at the sales, dang, I can't actually like look at this on the call. Okay, we'll just go back through this. So as you can see, we've got the checklist here, making it super easy for him. And the reason why we had this is because this particular action item that he had was just after he went to the gym. So it was an important task for his business because he'd just gone to the gym, like his energy's a little lower, and he said he wasn't fully executing on everything that he said that he wanted to do. And so what we did is, when he talked about making sure he has water, making sure he went to the bathroom, opening up his script, opening up his presentation, we've hyperlinked those specific things. We've then gone and put that into his calendar. So now where it says prep here, all these things have checklists. So that way things aren't just in the calendar, but they actually have checklists for moving forward at speed. So here's how I would apply the 5-step bonus to his situation. Let's say his biggest pain point right now was client communication. Right now, he's probably responding to client messages randomly throughout the day, getting pulled to reactive mode every time his phone buzzes. So step 1 would be identify the task. So client communication management. Step 2 is I'm going to create a checklist. So check messages at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5 p.m. only. Respond to urgent items first. Use templates for common responses. Set expectations for response time. Give clients clear action items if necessary. Might give it a sexy name, client VIP communication protocol, or communication protocol brackets, I'm fucking great at it. I don't know. Step 4, we're going to Google Doc with the process, and then we're going to put calendar blocks in the schedule at 9, 1, and 5. And then affirmations might be, I communicate with clarity and confidence. I serve my clients at the highest level. I'm in control of my schedule. Boom. In 5-10 minutes, we've taken somebody from chaotic, reactive communication to a system that creates predictability for him and his clients. And that's the transformation from chaos to clarity. That's how we actually move forward within that. Now, if you're serious about stopping self-sabotage and creating more quantum leaps in your business, this is just the beginning. In Neuro Elite, we actually help entrepreneurs build the linear growth systems that support massive breakthroughs. We combine identity work, personal systems, so not just business systems, but actual systems for what are you doing when you're triggered? How are you communicating with people? How are you showing up in your day-to-day, in your routines, in your gyms, your relationships? And as well as that, the last most important thing is, you know how earlier we talked about quantum leaping and we talked about linear growth? It's one thing to quantum leap. It's one thing to have the systems, but it's another complete thing to follow through. And that's why we have performance accountability and track what's been done and what's not been done. Because when Kev up to this point has been 100% task completion rate every single time, we spotted that he wasn't at 100% task completion rate for prep. And then we were able to build a system to help him out and grow from there. So we're able to just identify bottlenecks so much faster than if you were doing things by yourself, because I have a system for when things fall apart or when you fall off track. And then that way, you actually have the accountability to actually follow through when resistance shows up. And in that way, we'll also help you build the stepping stones that make quantum leaps inevitable and sustainable. Because right now, you might hit a quantum leap, but then you crash back down because you don't have the systems to maintain that level. So we work with entrepreneurs making 10 to 100K a month who are ready to scale sustainably without burning out. If that's you and you're ready to stop being the bottleneck in your own business, apply using the link below. We'll build the system specifically designed for your brain and your business, systems that give you energy instead of draining it. Systems that make scaling feel easier instead of overwhelming. And look, systems don't have to be complicated. The productivity gurus want you to think you need some complex, fancy setup, but the truth is the best systems are simple systems. Build the linear growth foundation and the quantum leaps will continue to follow. Start with one task, make it sexy, make it simple. Your future self, the one who operates from clarity instead of chaos, will actually thank you. And if this helped you, smash that like button, subscribe for more content like this, and share it with somebody you know and love and needs more systems, because I'm sure they'll appreciate it very, very much. And with that said, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.